I really do believe that the Milwaukee Brewers are one of the best teams in baseball, but how good would they be if they actually clutched up once in a while, came through with a big base hit with runners in scoring position, surprise us once in a while. Get to all that coming up next as the Brewers drop the opener in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels. That story is next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. The Milwaukee Brewers, my goodness. I mean, I really think they are a good baseball team. They are one of the top 6 or 7 teams in baseball. Of course, they're leading their division for a reason, because they put themselves in position to win games. But man, struggling with runners in scoring position night after night, I think it's a problem. And it's just not only this year. This was a problem for many years before this. Beginning of the season, it wasn't, but it's a problem. And I just don't want this to hold this team back from doing well in the postseason. Again, our ultimate goal is to get this team further than a first-round playoff series, a wild card loss, a divisional playoff loss. We wanted some series victories. Let's get to the World Series. Can this team do it? Yeah, it's got the potential to do it. Needs some tuning up, but with hitting with runners in scoring position, it's been a long-time problem. Like I said, it's been going back for a while. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Get us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads. Wherever you download your podcast, we are there providing great content with you Monday through Friday, giving you information about our favorite team, the Milwaukee Brewers. This episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply with Game Time. We're going to get to the runners in scoring position here in a little bit as we recap this Brewer game from last night. And it's a late night game in the Central Time Zone. Brewers started their first West Coast road trip, a 7-game road trip, 5-3 losers in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels. And I mean, you look at the stands, there ain't nobody at those games. I mean, the Angels are terrible, but as I always say, hey, they're a major league team. They're one of 30. You still got to go out there and compete against these guys. The Brewers got an early 2-0 lead with Jake Bauers. Angels came back on Rodriguez, took the lead. And then the Brewers had opportunities in this game. They just made some mistakes on the base pass. Also at the plate with the runners in scoring position. Terang hit a home run in the 5th inning to make it a 5-3 game, a solo homer, went from 5-2 to 5-3. But in that inning, Sanchez doubled in that inning and got caught in a rundown between second and third, trying to advance to a third on a ground out to the infield. He, of all people, should not be trying to advance on a ground out. I don't care where that ball's hit. He should not be trying to advance at all. Got thrown out, chased back to second, got called out. And then Blake Perkins gets picked off at first base. Blake, what are you doing? You're down by 3 runs. What are we doing getting picked off at first base? Okay. Just when I was talking to my last podcast, a couple podcasts ago, how smart of a team these guys are. I've been preaching, been going all around the state talking about Locked On Brewers and how smart of a team the Milwaukee Brewers are. They commit 2 base running errors like that in the same inning, and then Terang comes up with 2 outs. So you get you should have a runner on base. It wouldn't have tied the game. It wouldn't have been a 3-run jack because Perkins would not have been on first if Sanchez had not stayed at second base, because he stays at second. Perkins gets thrown out on that ground out. But you have a guy at first. One of them should have been on base when Terang hits the home run. You got a 5-4 game. You got a 5-4 game at that point. And then you get to the 7th inning. Brewers get runners at second and third. Runners at second and third. Nobody out. Nobody out. And here's how that 7th inning goes. Frelick singles to right. Hoskins moves to third. And just trouble. Just trouble. They couldn't put the ball in play. Could not get a ground out. Could not get a sac fly. Nothing. Sanchez, Perkins, and Terang all strike out to end the inning. And there goes the Brewers' last hope right there. And they end up falling 5-3. Again, that seventh inning was just a microcosm of how this team cannot score with runners in scoring position. Just second and third, they are great at setting the table, but cannot get those guys in for whatever reason. And I don't know if I don't have an answer for it. I don't know. I'm going to read some of your tweets a little bit later on. We're going to readdress this problem a little bit later on. But Rodriguez took the hill for the Brewers, 4 2/3, 5 earned runs. Hey, I'm not putting the blame on Rodriguez here. The guy probably should be at AAA. He should be at AAA, but because of just a desperate need of starting pitching with all the injuries, Rodriguez is on this team. So God bless him. Whatever we get out of Rodriguez is fine with me. 5 earned runs or 4 2/3. Yeah, those numbers don't look great, but my expectations aren't high for Rodriguez at this point. Again, he's still probably a AAA pitcher, but they need him. Not everybody who comes up is going to, most of the guys they've had coming up in that rotation, we can go through all this of the guys, but you all know it, have done the job. Some guys who aren't expected to be top of the rotation guys have done the job, like Colin Ray so far this year. Rodriguez inserted in this rotation, and it's an opportunity for him. But as soon as they get some guys healthy, Rodriguez will not be in that 5-man rotation. That's for sure. Some of you get the DL Halls of the world healthy, Joe Ross's, Junis, Rodriguez will not be in that rotation. Until then, you hope the guy just goes out and tries keeping in the ball game. He did not on Monday night, or on Monday night. 5 earned runs, 4 2/3, but I am not blaming Rodriguez at all. This was, again, base running errors, lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. Brewers had the 2-0 lead early on the Bowers home run, and that was it right there. Ryan Braun did make an appearance. I think the Ryan Braun appearance in the broadcast booth seemed to draw a lot of chatter on Twitter, as Ryan Braun often does. He's going to have his name on the Walk of Fame, which is in the outfield, beyond the outfield, outside the stadium at AmFam Field. And by the way, as I was walking out the ballpark the other day, the Walk of Fame, they need to clean those up a little bit. Some of the autographs are kind of washed out on there, and you can't even tell who it is. Like Bob Uecker, it says Mr. Baseball, but you can't even read Bob Uecker's name on there. It's like a grave that's 150 years old. If you try reading some names, come on, Brewers, do better. Let's get those Walk of Fames out there. And I know people are trampling on them as they're walking by, getting into the ballpark, but let's freshen those up a little bit. If you get a chance to walk out there and check them out, you'll know what I'm saying. It's like, God, Gorman Thomas's writing was washed out. Let's touch those up a little bit. You got some nice things out there. Let's not let them let's not let them go to hell, as my dad would say. William Contreras update. No concussion. They did sit him out. Available for pinch hit duties. They did not use him, but they, thank God, because the Brewers have gone through so many injuries so far this year. So many different guys have gone down and have come back, like a Rhys Hoskins has come back. We didn't need the best player on this team, William Contreras, to miss any sort of action, extended action. So maybe he'll be back in the lineup on Tuesday night. Who knows? They did sit him out, but pretty much a precautionary reason. Give him a day. And the guy had played in 70 of 71 games so far this year. No big deal giving that guy a day off for his sake. But yes, they escaped some bad news there when Contreras checked out okay, and he did not have a concussion. So good news there. We come back, the All-Stars. This All-Star voting, All-Star voting has always been a joke. And, of course, the Brewers never get any respect in the All-Star voting. One guy did. We'll get to that coming up next. Here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, we are your team every day. Game Time is an amazing place to get tickets. I go to Game Time. I've told you when I'm going to games, I want to go to concert somewhere. I've got Night Ranger tickets off there. Great seats, fourth row. A couple of weeks ago in Madison. Game Time. I love it. And here's what you need to do. You go to Game Time app. You get last minute deals, flash deals, zone deals, all in pricing. Also, you could just click on whatever seat you want, and it's going to give you a panoramic view of that seat. Lowest price guaranteed. Game Time will credit you 110% of the discount the price if you find otherwise. So what you need to do, download the Game Time app. Download it. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. You buy $70 worth of tickets. You all know Summerfest is coming to Milwaukee here in the next 3 weeks. You want to get some prime tickets. You want to see REO Speedwagon like your boy Freeman wants to do here next week. Well, here's what you need to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. And if you see me at the game or you see me at a concert, REO, just say hello. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Google, Spotify, Apple, run all the major downloads. Hit us up on YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. All free content. All free content. And, of course, hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Join the boys from ESPN Lacrosse today. My 4:30 segment every 4:30 Central Time every Monday. Will be on Tuesday with the Bill Michaels Show statewide. 11:30 Central Time, talking Brewers baseball, representing us here at Locked On Brewers. And again, the Brewers and Angels, Tuesday night, coming up, 8:35, the approximate first pitch. You get us on Sirius and Sirius XM. Search Brewers, and you'll get all 162 of Brewers on the Sirius XM app. Very, very cool. You get all Major League Baseball. You're coming out of a game at night, a Brewers game. You want to tune into some West Coast games. There you go, right there. All right, these All-Stars. Brewer All-Star voting. I'm always afraid. I'm afraid to look at the All-Star voting every year, especially the first couple of weeks of it, the results. The first batch came out today because I know I'm going to get ticked off. I'm going to be upset because I know my team is going to get slighted. It's been happening to me since being a Brewer fan since the 70s. When I used to look at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and see the Brewers All-Stars, I'd always see Cecil Cooper leading the league in batting average with a .350 batting average, but somehow be seventh in fan voting. I'd see Paul Molitor, my all-time favorite Milwaukee Brewer, somehow doing great things, again, putting up all-star numbers, like sixth in the all-star third baseman. Okay? Robin Yount, same thing. You know, just terrible voting. And I'm seeing some of the same things happen. But I'm telling you what, I'm just surprised. Contreras right now, number one catcher. If the All-Star game would start today, the Brewers would have two starters. If the All-Star game is tomorrow, they'd have Contreras starting at catcher and Yelich second in outfield, which to me is surprising that Yelich is second in the outfield, which not that he doesn't deserve it, but surprised he's that high right now. Turang, sixth in second baseman, absolute joke. Absolute. First thing I saw, Turang, sixth among second basemen. What the guy does, how he changes the game. He's not Paul Molitor just yet. He's not taking it for Cooperstown, but he makes things happen at the top of the order. Gets on, gets guys over, bunts, and plays great defense. Steals you bases on a near perfect basis. Bryce Turang, sixth right now in the All-Star voting, is an absolute joke. Also, third baseman right now, I see Manny Machado is third as far as third baseman. How Joey Ortiz, well, I know how Joey Ortiz is third, obviously, because he's in Milwaukee. Okay. Alec Boehm definitely deserves to be number one at this point. But, I mean, if we're talking about the year you're having, Ortiz compared to Machado, let's talk about how many big moments Ortiz. And before you all start coming at me about Ortiz and me not liking about the Corbin Burns trade, let's put that aside here. And I'm the first to admit that Ortiz is having a fantastic season. beyond my expectations. He's not putting up eye-bulging numbers, but he's having a real good year, coming up in big moments. The 3-run home run on Saturday night, just to name one of his many, many moments. Defensively, giving us great third base work as well. But Machado, 246, 5 home runs for all the talent that guy has. See Machado walk to first base on a ground ball to the shortstop, that sort of thing. I mean, if I see one of my players walk to third base, half jog like Vladdy Guerrero did last week, and I know they probably got some injuries they're trying to prevent or whatever, but what if the first baseman drops the ball and mingles around with it and also picks it up? Ain't no way you're getting Machado or Vladdy getting the first base. And I see Machado and that hustle in that guy, and I'm like, wow, 5 home runs, 6 home runs, batting 246, second right now in the All-Star voting. Are you kidding me? A joke. Machado ain't no way. The guy, okay, if you're going to go on contracts, obviously Machado should be the starting third baseman because the guy got, a $45 million signing bonus a couple of years ago. He's making about $30 million a year. There ain't no way Machado should be ahead of our guy Ortiz. No way. It's an absolute farce. Absolutely. So long way to go in it, but so far Terang is getting jobbed. Ortiz is getting screwed as well. Yelich and Contreras right where they belong, either first or second. I love to see that. And Contreras. I mean, if Contreras isn't the starting first catcher at the All-Star game, I don't know what to tell you, because the guy's an MVP candidate and the guy's been an iron horse for this team. I don't have to tell you that. You know that. You've been watching this team play all season long. That, there should be no surprise that if the All-Star game is tomorrow, Contreras would be right there. When we come back, going to talk a little bit about Rhys Hoskins. Rhys has got to start picking it up. That's my guy right there. I loved when they picked up Rhys Hoskins. I love that deal. How much I like that. We're going to tell you about that coming up a little bit here. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, electrical products online. They're easy-to-use website packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you to get the job done right every time. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts. Yes, 200,000 parts, over 400 top brands. Get your order delivered right to your door. Fast shipping, coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support. Industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business. Talk to a real person every time. Pros of the skilled trades can get competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master get access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts at every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from the free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Show is also brought to you by the folks over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. You think you got the Brewers picked out on base hits, RBIs, home runs. Let's say you want to go Yelich under home runs in tomorrow night's game against the Angels, or you think Terang is going to get over like a half hit or so. Well, here you could put it anywhere from 2 to 6 player stat projections, pick them, and you're locked in. It takes as little as 60 seconds. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. Who doesn't love promotions? Lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays, which is tomorrow, or which is today when this releases on Tuesday, which increases your chances of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Also optional in June only. Make sure you try out esports this month, because every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your money, your entry fee back. Choose from Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, League of Legends. All this happens on Prize Picks, but what you need to do? What do you need to do? You need to download the app, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Your first deposit match up to $100. You can't beat that. First deposit match up to $100. Again, Prize Picks. Download the app, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. First deposit match up to $100 with Prize Picks. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. All right, down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along here. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Somebody asked me, why do I got to put the glasses on? I need the glasses to read. I don't use my contact lens when I do these because I'm usually taping these late at night. I take the contacts out, and now you got to use the glasses. For that one person who tweeted me on it. The person wasn't being a jerk. He was just asking me about it. Rhys Hoskins. You know what? Rhys Hoskins. I love Rhys Hoskins. I love the signing. I love the pickup. You know, what was it, 12 to 14 million? I forget offhand what it was. And the option for next year. At the rate it's going, Brewers are going to have Hoskins around for next year if they want. Because, I mean, not too many teams are going to be giving that guy 14 million or whatever it is for the option. 16 million, 218 he's hitting, 10 home runs. I feel like Rhys has not been the same since he went down with a hamstring injury. I thought Rhys was getting on a roll about that Yankees series. And just started to kick it into gear a little bit. You know, the home runs were coming a little bit, and I think he's got one home run since coming off the injured list. And that batting average, I like to use that stat. We can't forget that stat, that true and tested stat, 218. Now, Hoskins, I want this guy in the cleanup spot of the order. But right now, he took an 0 for 5 the other day. He's just killing him. And I know he's better than that. I don't know if it's coming back from the knee surgery, that he's still working on that. I don't know if the hammy is still bothering him from when he injured it a few weeks ago and he had to go on the injured list. But he has not been very productive. They gave him the off day on Sunday. He was back in the DH role on Monday. And I don't know, he's just not the same guy. Swinging at bad pitches, just isn't the same Rhys Hoskins, who I thought was, again, getting on a roll right before he got hurt with that hamstring injury. And not been the same. But they need Hoskins. They need Hoskins to deliver. You know, part of this runners and scoring position dilemma the Brewers are going through, Hoskins could help out. It's going to take all these guys. You know, you can't have a couple of duds in the lineup. You need everybody. I don't want Blake Perkins in the lineup just because he gives me AA defense in the outfield. He's got to hit. Frelick has got to hit. Hoskins, I'm counting on that guy to provide some big numbers. I feel like Jake Bauers has come through more than Rhys Hoskins has this year. Bauers hit his 6th home run on Monday night. But Hoskins need the big fella to step up. I said, beginning of the season, I thought he was going to hit 35 home runs in this team. I said when they picked him up over the winter, I was delighted. We all wanted Rhys Hoskins on this team. I said the guy could hit 35 home runs. I thought he was on pace for it. Because he was muscling up. He was great. But again, I'm not using the hamstring injury as an excuse, but I think that had something to do with it. But Rhys, big fella, if you're hurt, say something to somebody because we need you in the heart of this order. He batted 6th on Monday night, but we need Hoskins to get back to the Rhys Hoskins we know he was with the Phillies and the Rhys Hoskins we saw earlier in the year. 218, 10 homers at this point. Need more from him. Need more from Rhys Hoskins. And that leads me to the runners in scoring position. A couple of tweets I want to read to you real quickly. I put that out there. I said, the Brewers, we talked about this at the top, the runners in scoring position. If the Brewers could just hit with runners in scoring position at a decent rate, the lack of clutch hitting, how good would they be? How good would the Brewers be? Lack of clutch hitting just kills this team game after game, I wrote. They overcome in other areas, but this team could make things a lot easier on themselves if they could just clutch up once in a while. Bear says, totally agree. 3 straight strikeouts with 2nd and 3rd and nobody out is unacceptable. Yep, that happened in the 7th inning. 2nd and 3rd, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good night. 3 strikeouts in a row. Daniel says, lousy defense. He used another word, but we can't swear on these podcasts. Lousy defense, more importantly, bad base running mistakes cost them tonight. Turang's home run ties the game if our guys don't get picked off before is that bad. Well, one guy got picked off. The other made a bad base running error, and it wouldn't have been a tie game because one of the runners would have been out, and one of the runners would have been on first base. Sanchez doesn't move. He's at second base, and Perkins never reaches first base. So they would have Turang would have had a 2-run home run. He would not have had a 3-run shot there. Ryan says, usual for this team, RISP equals kryptonite. People might think they're a good team, but they lack talent. Yeah, they do lack some talent. But they, as I've said, what they lack in talent is what they make up in playing good, smart baseball. But that 5th inning was not smart baseball. The 7th inning with runners at second and third base, 3 strikeouts in a row, not getting any runs there, not good fundamental baseball. Dr. Gradrojan says better hitting with runners in scoring position would give them a better record than the Dodgers. Absolutely. And ultimately, that's what we're looking for. DA says, should not be losing games this way to this team. The Angels have awful pitching, and you can't muster more than that. They had 5 hits. They can't even get a run across. Unbelievable offense right now. Yeah, it's the runners and score 5 hits. Got to get the runners in scoring position. Got to start producing. I don't know if it's ever going to come. I don't know the answer. I wish I did. Murphy wishes he had the answer for this. But man, it's like a year long. I thought early in the season, remember early in the season how good they were through the first 3.5 weeks? I was like, man, they finally have cured this runners in scoring position thing, coming up and clutching up time in, time again. They were like in the best of baseball through the first 3 weeks of the season. They were hitting like 400 runners in scoring position. Might even been higher than that. But it's clearly one of the worst teams in baseball, with the eye test, especially with runners in scoring position. It's going to do it for me, Chuck Freeman. Hey, don't fret over this loss. It's a 5-3 loss to the Angels. Brewers are a better team. Don't get swept in Anaheim against these guys. Brewers have done this before where they've lost the opener and have come back to take the next 2 games. Let's do that and go on to continue the road trip this weekend, but I'm not worried over the loss. Just I want the runners in scoring position, that aspect of the game, to improve. They made a couple of mistakes. Let's do better on Tuesday night with another late night start. 8:38 with the approximate tip time. First pitch, you get it. NBA season ends tonight. I always say tip time anyway. That first pitch, 8:38. First pitch, you get on Sirius XM on the SXM app, and you get all 162 of Brewers baseball right there. Hey, everybody, I'm Chuck Freeman. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all your great comments as well. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good night, everybody.